friends, I just want you to know I'm grateful that you're here. And okay. Oopsie. All right. William here. Seems I was bound to get some fresh air today. Found myself walking along Baja California Sur, just a few blocks from my house or apartment, whatever you call this. It's a roof over my head. Put that in italics. I thought of it when it started and then no, keep it. And shelter is right up there with things I love and appreciate the most. Another thing I appreciate is the sound of the rain, which goes hand in hand with the roof over your head. Take away the roof and the rain becomes a nightmare. If you folks happen to hear things that sound off in the mix, you can just let me know. I'm winging it without monitors. So you have the sound of keyboard here, and I have a mic here. So let's go to it. "7:56 p.m. So by the time I had made it to visit my children, I realized it was too early yet, and they hadn't made it home from school, which is fine. I just went walking down the road to Oxo and got myself some tortilla and water. And that was when it dawned on me, Baja California Sur, this road that seemingly goes on forever in the city, is where I ended up at the end of the world, at least in my mind. For I once had a place in the northern California that is known to Mexico as Los Angeles. And then, of course, there's the northern California, where the redwoods are, and the sad days of today that used to claim this city of San Francisco, or perhaps even Sacramento, as beautiful places to not only visit, but to live. These times that we see are a stark contrast. And I wish to say good things about San Francisco. So please take the fog away and replace it with the freshest of sourdough in the morning, so it billows out, and all we have is the reminder of a brighter day and the best to come, of course. But for now, we have this. We have the aliveness of our being. We have the truth of ourselves. And that's enough, I'd say. Walking along the old routes and the new ones, all familiar to me now. Eight o'clock p.m. How's everyone doing? Be well. And have some water. Thank you for the gift. Who was that from? Davey, thank you. God bless. Promised myself I would write today and to do it live and probably confuse a bunch of the regulars coming here to catch some screen taps and calls to the morning dove. Oh, what we have is a general unfolding, as it were, words to the page that are just symbols that we give meaning over time. Collections of life experiences lead to these defined moments. As the music continues, it also tends to change. All good, if you ask me. 8:02 p.m. I used to be able to use shortcuts to do justification and alignment, but it doesn't seem to work with pages, no matter. You try to do the Control or Command E to center, and it just does something else that you don't want. That's okay. It's not a complaint. It's just a fact. I could have ended up in California, northern part, permanently, had I played my cards differently back in 2012. I was right on the edge of falling in love with a woman from Santa Barbara. Beautiful in her own right and just perfectly kind, and I was obviously undeserving, for it did not manifest, and I was pretty awful about it too. Not worth mentioning. Mention. Yeah, I usually don't use that often. How did it feel in that moment? Is that what you're asking? Yes, William. That's what I'm asking. says Hermes Trismegistus right next to me, asks me these things when there is a moment to move. How is that retrograde treating you right now? Clever William, you are a clever man. How about you just tell me the answer? How did it feel when you were on the precipice to life change that you never experienced beyond regret? How does it feel? I have no regrets. I have my children. Touché. And on these words go between us all the time. It's not so much challenging as it's rewarding. I find that if I can have conversations with Hermes on the regular, I expand in some way. It's never truly defined or predicted in some sort of daily forecast. If that were the case, I would have more to look forward to in these sessions, but at the same time, if I knew the benefit wasn't something I was actively seeking, then why would I even bother? Why would I get to the keyboard and punch away? Of course, asking why is the precursor to suffering, so I must be aware of such things. Nice to see you all. 8:07 p.m. Rain's really coming down outside right now, and in here we'll emulate it. Hermes here. William doesn't mind. I stop by from time to time, and I surprise folks during Mercury retrograde. If the moon is waning, I have this small window with Celeste, and I just take it. I took it tonight and ended up landing here with my old friend. He wouldn't say we are old friends, or maybe. I don't know. It's okay not to know. We're friends, Hermes. You've taught me a mountain of things. You taught me a mountain. Well, in that case, I'm glad. I just want you to know you are on the precipice again. How does that feel to know? I'd like the full forecast without any fog, if I'm being honest with you. Have anything more to share with me? It could be any number of combinations at this point, and several also I won't know until they occur. That said, good things in money, promotion, prosperity, love, union, and overall success. You can count on these things speeding their way to you in short order. How about we just go there now, Hermes? I ask. Sure, let's go. I take it you are familiar with the narrow gates to the imagination. Indeed, my friend, I know of my pure spirit as much as yours, I said. And that was it. We stepped into the narrow corridor, into the nation of images in our minds, and we were one in being with the Father. All at once, without time or need for rest or reconciliation. There was no time involved. And we went to the places that we always loved to see. We first visited Selenas, our old friend, on the beaches of Tulum, and shared a mezcal and tortilla with guacamole. And after we were filled with laughter, speaking of the old times and reminiscing, as it were, we found ourselves paying a visit to the vault and took out an old voltaic arc plasma emitter and just fired off a few rounds on the beach, watching the sand blow up in the air and plume and form into instant crystalline structure, a fulgor of, I believe it's called, I could be wrong, but it sure looked impressive while it happened. And after that, we went back to the bar and had a look at the old Akashic reels and did some revisions for our old cronies to make sure there was no unnecessary pain involved in their life experiences. All in all, a very good time hanging out in the imagination. (8:13 p.m.) Forgot to tell you about how Saturn stopped by and told us that he needed coverage in the Great Hall and the Theater of Ages for tomorrow, specifically on his day of rest. And so I agreed and took on the responsibility. Are you sure you know how to work the reels? Saturn asks, passing me a beer. 100%. I've made enough mistakes to never make them again, my friend. So you start here, I'll just show you. You have the main lens, which is for your light of being to enter. And from this, the images of the Akasha form. And as you think deeper into the past, you travel deeper. Here are the frames that are requested for revision, and here's the red reel lock. You know not to access it for the sake of Lilith being undisturbed. It's more about her peace than ours, if you ask me, by now. If you ask me. I nod. Agreed. So just these older frames? Nothing new? I have Chloris working on the more recent memories, so just be with these old revisions. They need your type of patience. And truly, I'm happy to know I won't be responsible for them. Not that I couldn't scrub them. They just need, like I said, patience. And so Saturn left me with the keys to the Great Hall and the plush theater. And I was in heaven for an entire day. I just went through the old pains of my friends and loved ones. And instead of watching like a voyeur, I just went in with an axe and started chopping up the frames that hurt and repurposed all that goodness that once was into the hearts of my loved ones. And God said it was good. Eight 17 p.m. How's everyone doing? Excusez-moi. So we've been going for, 20 minutes? Let's see. How long? When did we start? We started at 7:54. Cool. So we got for words thus far. I'll even include the chapter words to get some extras. All right, let's see. 1,412 words so far. We're doing great. That's a good pace. That's like a 3,000 word hour pace with 3,500 words. It's really good. Very good. Yeah, I'm going to stretch for a second. Hang tight. Gotta stretch my butt. we'll do about an hour of writing and see where we land. And if I'm motivated, we'll keep going. I usually like to write for about an hour. If I can get to 2,500 words, I feel very good with the session. So let's do that. Okay. Akasha. William here. There is a 33 staircase that leads to the projectionist booth. Here you will see a ring of keys that's hanging just above the door. You take it and put the oldest one in, which is a skeleton key. And this key opens the door to the booth. Why I tell you this is because if you make a mistake with the key, much like Jupiter did back a few years ago, it unlocks the red reel case. And that's bad, because if you are someone like Jupiter and have attachments in the form of lust, you can find yourself completely taken away by Lilith when she shows herself on screen. I'll explain all this in a minute. All is to say, Jupiter is no longer allowed to work the reels and revise frames in the Akasha. He comes by, has beer, and leaves, and usually says not a word to his father, Saturn. You see, Saturn abandoned his son when he was born. So this was upsetting for Jupiter's mother to hear that their son, a god, would be consumed for some strange ritualistic reason. And Saturn to this day denies this as truth. He says it was impossible to be there, impossible to take care of his son while also managing a revolt by the gods and an underpinning of power that could not be seen but was being transferred. And it just led to all this misunderstanding and resentment in time. If you ask me what I believe, I have no place in answering. For I too could be seen as a father who has abandoned his child or his children, if you wish to be more specific and make a point beyond what Saturn was trying to make in defense of himself. It doesn't matter as much as using the right key in the door. That's most important to remember. 8:24 p.m. How's everyone doing here? Everyone okay? Thanks for all the love, all the likes, and for your presence being here. Let's fix the camera. Slight adjustment there. That should be better. It's not really. Let's try to fix it. Let's see here. Okay. First frame I saw was of a conversation I had with an old friend. We were having some argument over our personal sense of worth, that being me saying what I was worth and the response coming to me being that I was less, or I was worth less. You know how that goes. See yourselves as separate, and you no longer see friendship. All you see are red flags and the roads to ruin. How to run, how to ghost, how to get away with it all. The new way of playing friendship in a broken world. That was this frame. So I went to it and had at it and just started chipping away. And I worked, and the pains came out, and I felt them, just as any scrubber would. And as they arrived, I reminded myself of my aliveness as I peered through the lens into some olden memory of pain, remembrance. And there was truth in that work, as there is truth in my heart, in feeling now. I feel the relief of pain, and thus the subsiding that we, as scrubbers, come to appreciate. 8:28 p.m. Another was with my mother at her home, 72 years old, and suffering, both of us, really. And it was more days like that than not, regretfully, as it was when I approached this frame. And the frame presented to me the opportunity to slip through the cracks and not even be there at all, but to witness the aliveness return to my mother's face and her being, to see her revitalized, was the scrub that was needed for both of us. And then there was this other frame that came up when I thought all had been done that was needed, turns out there was more. My father, a very good man. And so the tears just started to flow. And I don't know why. I just feel like I missed some opportunity that I never seized. And so I really looked at that for a while. And I felt it true for a while. And then I just became calm, like it had passed through me. And, you know, there wasn't a word shared between us, and I could have said something, but I didn't. I just stayed and appreciated his aliveness in the now. And I found myself loved as a son would want to be. And God said it was good. And it was a good session of scrubbing. One of the best. (8:32 p.m. Central). Before the day was out, I was foolish enough to approach the frames between my brother and I. And all I saw was his perfect health the entire time, past all that was evidently broken. I didn't care or want to see any of that. I just laughed and cheered with him, saw him perfect, just as I had always admired him. You know, I share something in common with Albert Collin. Both he and I were close to being kidnapped when we were kids. And if it hadn't been for our brothers, our older brothers, protecting us and looking out for us, we wouldn't be here. Not in the way that we are now. Not in the healthy way. So I have this feeling for my brother. It's gratitude for my current aliveness that would have been stripped away in an instant, if not for him. and that healed it. I didn't even have to chip away at all. It just healed on its own. I watched the frame just heal, fall into a state of completeness just immediately. And I sighed. This was a gift from Saturn. He wanted me to be here. He wanted me to heal these frames because they are mine. They belong to no one else, just me. "8:36 p.m. Hello, everyone, and blessings to you all. Hey, Leon. Hey, Sydney. Nice to see you guys. I think that's good for a chapter. Let's see. Let's have a look at the words. If it's 2,500 words, we'll do some ASMR. I bet it's just under. It feels a little light. We'll see. Yeah, it feels a little light for 2,500. 2,370. Yeah, I was right. Let's do another 150 words. Should be quick. Okay. Selenus Tavern. Obsidian Void. Sunday. I walk into, I can do this, into the bar. Selenus is showing his holographic imagery to his old crony, Saturn. They are clearly imbibing and a bit tipsy. Hey, any plans on returning? I ask Saturn, patting him on the shoulder, which spills some of his beer on his lap, and he doesn't seem to care. Nor do I. I have this plan that involves staying here with my friend Selenus, and you are to return to the theater for further proper management. Saturn says to me, but not before you have some of this beautifully delicious Amrita. And he pours me a glass. I wouldn't be so dumb as to turn Saturn's Amrita down. After all, it is the nectar of the gods. So I have it, and it tastes about as good as any of the ambrosia that Selenus has brewed in the past, except with each sip, instead of feeling like something was gained of benefit or what have you, I felt a lightness, a release, a way found, as it were. And so I enjoyed my glass to the end,